I'm here today to have a very important conversation with Lawyer Johnson about the amazing work he's going to be out here doing in this community to impact those who have been victims of sexual abuse through Motivational Wingz. Man, Lawyer, what's good, brother? I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
I'm excited as well.
Explain Lawyer Johnson as a young kid.
Lawyer Johnson as a young kid, happy, rambunctious, just willing to go out and try to just grab anything that I focus on. Because I was a huge Michael Jackson fan.
Okay.
So like I loved singing back then, and you know Michael Jackson was my hero. I can remember my friend and I would just play outside and you know just act like we was the Jackson 5 and have concerts for you know our family members. That was the young Lawyer Johnson.
Yeah. There was a point in your life that it sounds like you were much more expressive, that you liked singing, you were emulating Michael Jackson and all of those type of things. So what that tells me right off bat is that there was a point that there was a switch that altered that really expressive kid. So I believe that happened around when you were age 7.
Yes.
You know, so what happened when you were 7 years old?
When I was 7 years old, I can remember my friend and I was playing outside. My sister, best friend, uncle, he offered my friend and I some cookies.
Yeah.
And being that he was a family friend, I didn't have no reservations about listening to him when he was encouraging me to go down in his basement to get the cookies, right? 7 years old, and it just turned out to be a trap for him to molest me. So here I am, this seven-year-old kid trying to fight off a guy that was probably 19 at the time. And I'm trying to fight this guy off, and at the same time, I'm screaming to the top of my lung, screaming for help. And, you know, it didn't get me anywhere. And I just can remember this guy, after he got done, he just threatened me.
Yeah.
And I walked home in disbelief.
And that's tough, like, for a kid to process.
I can remember going home and just feeling disgusted and ashamed that I let my mother down.
Do you know where the thought came from that your mom would be mad?
I don't know where it came from. I just know that was the feeling that I felt at the time. And I felt like if I would have, first of all, he threatened me, right? And I felt like if I had the courage to tell her, that she probably would have looked at it like I might have been lying, or she would have been mad at me for just coming up with a lie.
Did you notice any changes in yourself after you suffered that abuse?
I didn't trust anyone. I just didn't like people standing behind me. Anything that resembled that situation of me being molested, if it wasn't my mother or my aunt or my uncle, anything other than that resembled a dominant male figure, I just didn't want any parts of it.
Because we've both kind of talked about our journeys of connecting with our biological fathers. So I also imagine the absence of your actual biological father not being there played a part in that journey somehow as well.
How about if he was there, right? And I told him, he would have took it to another level and did bodily harm to Dion. Without him not being in my life, at least I had the opportunity to fight through things by myself.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Powerful perspective, man. So did you tell anybody? Did you have an outlet? Did you have somebody to talk to?
The fact that I thought that my mother would be mad at me, I ended up living with that shameful feeling for 30 years before telling anyone what happened to me. The first person that I ever told was actually my ex-wife. And the second person I told was you. Trauma is like, it's real. You're looking at a kid that had a normal life and that was outside playing and singing and that was just rambunctious. And then, you know, one day this all changed. So you looking at a kid from the time he was happy to the time he was molested, all the way up until he's like 40 plus years old, he's functioning within his dysfunctional mind. And people are looking at his life and thinking that he's normal, but he knows that he's not a normal individual because he's still fighting whatever occurred when he was 7 years old. An individual that's dealing with child trauma, their life is not like a movie. Like you can go look at the movie and then you're done with it. Our movie is a repeat.
Yeah.
So you have to fight those demons of living within your dysfunctional mind and try to put off this persona that you're a normal individual. That's what I live with. And I'm still living with it right now today as a 51-year-old man.
Trauma lives in your body, you know, and the stuff that you don't deal with will deal with you, and what's in your subconscious will come out somehow. So how do you feel that trauma affected your life?
It made me fearless. It made me aggressive. Me being aggressive was just my defense mechanism to protect myself, right? It affected my life to the point that, you know, I know that any individual that was in my life that I was in a relationship with, they probably didn't get a fair opportunity to like live out a good relationship with me, because you know I'm a individual that's dealing with child trauma. Everything that I experienced, you know, growing up until I got into a relationship, they was dealing with it.
Now, when you say that you were fearless, like does that mean you didn't fear death?
I felt like I was invincible. That was my defense mechanism to protect myself. You live on the edge because you feel this pain, and the only way to offset this pain is just to do fearless things.
You said that you held on to this for like 30 years.
30 years.
What has this been like, your journey of starting to share your story and share this trauma?
Everyone have a purpose in life, and I fully believe that God don't place no burden on anyone that they can't bear. I look at myself as an individual that God placed a task on. I had to accept that what happened to me wasn't my fault, and I have to understand that it's a lot of individuals that's out there, and the majority of them are kids. The biggest thing for me to get therapy out of was comedy. There are things that you can channel your pain into from trauma. You know, instead of you doing alcohol or doing drugs, let's find something that you enjoy to do and you love to do, and you know, help you heal.
You kind of touched on the comedy stuff that's been an outlet. How are you healing on this journey?
Meditating, knowing your purpose in life, and just accepting. That's the first thing that you need to do, is accept the fact that it wasn't your fault. It's my job to take back my life.
You're taking your own journey, you're taking your trauma into creating this platform, which is Motivational Wingz. And one thing that I looked at that I really liked on your website is you have 4 pillars. The first one is find yourself. The second one is accept what has happened is not your fault. Work to understand yourself and find your purpose.
Finding yourself is finding your greatness. Go back to the essence of you. And the only way that you can go back to the essence of you is go back to the individual you were before your trauma came into play.
The second pillar is accept what has happened is not your fault.
You have to understand that everything that happened to you from the time that you were sexually abused to now, it is not your fault. Your relationship issues, your trust issues, all of that come from your child trauma. And once you identify that and you understand that, hey, you accept everything and you move on in your life.
Work to understand yourself.
Look at the effects that child trauma has on an individual versus a normal child. Do your due diligence and research, you know, how the brain works through child trauma.
Last pillar is find your purpose.
You have to go back to all the things you used to do when you was younger, before you was sexually abused. You might have liked to draw, or you liked to sing, or you was emulating something on TV that you saw. Go back to those things, because 9 times out of 10 is something that you identify with and that you love to do. When I say find your purpose, go back to the essence of you. Start going through those steps in life to get you to who you're supposed to become.
What do you want to tell people, or what's your message for other folks that have experienced sexual abuse, other victims of sexual abuse?
First, understand that it's not your fault and that you're never too old to get help. It's a lot of a lot of individuals that's out there right now, you frustrated and you just don't know that all the things that you're doing right now stems from your child trauma. Understand that it is help for you. Understand that you don't have to live in a space where you're afraid to tell somebody about an individual that molested you. Understand that, you know, I am here to help, and there's a lot of people that's out here willing to help you and pull you out that dark spot and regain your life. So if you out there and you experiencing hurt, please call me anytime, email me anytime, or talk to your teacher. Talk to anybody that you trust if you have been sexually abused.
For any of you that are looking to get involved, you've been inspired, motivated by this conversation, visit LawyerJohnsonMotivationalWingz.com. And that's Wings with a Z. Don't type an S, it's Wings with a Z.